Good morning, guys. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for watching my videos and sharing. Here's a current view of the back basin there at Old Faithful. This little hill here you can see partially on the right. That is the Mallard Lake Resurgent Dome. It's currently 38 degrees there, a little chilly at Yellowstone. The high is only supposed to be about 48 degrees. I spent about 3.5 hours trying to download data from USGS. Let me show you. But all of the boreholes and many of the monitors there at Yellowstone are not working. But it's not just Yellowstone that's not working. I want to show you this earthquake right here. That is a 5.9 earthquake that came in on the monitors that happened in Japan earlier. I should have done a report last night, but it got really late. And these are the boreholes, two of them that I was going to use. This one here is Madison River, and this here is Norris Geyser Basin. They went offline. You can see it right here. Just before 4:20 a.m. Central Daylight Time. All the networks for the US stations, every one of them, is not working today. Every one of them. See, offline. Down here we got the monitor for Yellowstone Lake. I'm just going to briefly go through them and show you. Log Hollow. Every one of them. Every one of these stations, I can just pick whatever. I already went through them all. I even emailed them, telling them that the site's not working. And I probably did that about 2 hours ago, but none of these sites are not working. So I don't think it's got anything to do with the University of Utah. And the reason I say that is I looked up to find out just exactly how their network system works there. How it could be shut down, who could shut it down, etc. This here is a paper I found with an interview with Bob Smith with the University of Utah, talking about the different seismic stations, the GPS stations, etc. It says here the seismic stations continuously transmit data by radio links via Mount Washburn. So all the data for all the seismic stations, the tilt meter, it's all transmitted to Mount Washburn. Then it goes to Soteli Peak, and then from there it goes to the FAA line to our Salt Lake City Recording Laboratory. That would be the University of Utah. And then from there, it goes via USGS Lake Station is sent to Colorado, Golden, Colorado, via the internet. So I'm just speculating, but somewhere between the University of Utah and Golden, Colorado, they have a problem with transmitting the data. And it says here they also use satellite telemetry. There's no interference going on right now with our satellites. Here's the KP index. Yeah, it's good. No sunspots are currently Earth directed. But there is a coronal hole that possibly did shoot off a C5 solar flare. So maybe that is what's going on. I'll give them the benefit of a doubt. So if all this data that goes from the boreholes isn't being transmitted from Utah by internet or whatever, it's being transmitted by satellite, yeah, maybe that's why these boreholes and different things are not working. You can see we got a C5.5, a B2, that's not bad, and a B2.5. So this has not impacted the Earth as of yet. They have an image here of region 2880. Maybe it came off that side limb. That's a pretty good size solar flare. But as you can see right now, it's not impacting the Earth right now for everything to be down and not working. In the past week, there's been 143 earthquakes within this area. We got Hedgen Lake up over here. And then we got Yellowstone Lake right here. That one was a 1.5. Another thing I want to cover real quick here is location of these monitors and the magma that's coming into the system. Now this area, which one should I make bigger? I'll make that one bigger for you. The center one, which is Maple Creek. This one and the other two. And actually, the majority of these earthquakes are along an area of an old caldera rim. Here you can see a dotted line in green. And this is the boundary of an older caldera. Dashed, it says here, where uncertain edges of the rim. So they're not quite sure if this area is the older rim within this location along with the purple one. And the purple one is where they know for a fact that the edge of the caldera currently exists. Doing a lot of the research, what's going on there at La Palma, they knew that it was going to erupt, but they couldn't figure out exactly where it was going to happen, if it was going to come up underneath someone's house even. They just knew that the earthquakes were getting shallower and shallower in depth, and currently they're very deep, 14 kilometers in depth. So over there, they still have a lot of pressure building, and analysis of the lava that has come up shows that in fact that magma is coming up from the mantle of the earth very deep. This earthquake at Hedgen Lake, which they said was a 0.0, came up from 9.9, almost 10 kilometers in depth, so that was fairly deep. This one here at Mammoth, that was 4.3 kilometers in depth. That was a 1.1. A 1.5, 3.8, very shallow. This one was fairly deep. A 0.4, 8.6 kilometers in depth. I got another one that's deep. 8.3 kilometers. Another one fairly deep. 7.8 kilometers. And let me see here. What would be the deepest one? 12 kilometers. A 0.4. Where is that one at? Oh, right there. Along the mountains. Let's see. 10 kilometers. Yeah, the Madison River area. I've talked about how this volcano, Yellowstone, has been recharging for another eruption. They know that by the resurgent domes, the Mallard Lake resurgent dome, which is at the Old Faithful webcam, and then the Sour Creek resurgent dome, which they had a few earthquakes last month, and it's not far from that area where they found the dead trees, because the heat had increased so much it burned the trees up from the ground up. Now, the recent earthquakes that were happening yesterday and the day before, they were in another area of tree die-off. That has not been mentioned. And here we got a lot of the earthquakes that I marked out. Also, recently, let me pull this out. Okay, here's the tree die-off. Here's the recent earthquakes. And this here is Firehole River. A woman jumped into a hot pole there to rescue her dog who had escaped from the car and jumped into this hot pole, and I assume immediately became distressed because it was burning up alive. I don't know what's going on with the dog. It was taken to the vet, and she went to the hospital with severe burns. Now, if it was known that this pool was so dangerous, don't you think they would have had more of an enclosure around this? You can see the road goes right up to this hot pole. It's called Maiden Grave Hot Spring. You would think there'd be a warning sign to stay out of the water because of the risk of being burning. you wouldn't have a road going right up to the edge of it. Here's another image of that spring. And using Google Earth, yeah, you can see the road goes right up to it. The article that I posted here comes from the Billings Gazette. It says a 20-year-old woman from Washington suffered significant burns after attempting to rescue her dog after it jumped into a hot pool on October 4th. When the woman and her father exited their vehicle in the vicinity of Fountain Flat Drive south of Madison Junction to look around, their dog jumped out of the car also and into Maiden's Grave Spring near the Firehole River. Well, it's right on the edge of Firehole River. The woman jumped into the hot spring to retrieve her dog, suffering burns between her shoulder and feet. The father pulled her out of the pool and drove to West Yellowstone. This is the second significant injury in a thermal area in 2021 this year. The first one occurred in September at Old Faithful in 2020. It says here a 3-year-old suffered second-degree thermal burns to the lower body and back. I think he fell into it off the boardwalk. And another hiker who illegally entered the park fell into a thermal feature at Old Faithful while backpacking and taking photos. She too, that was a woman, she too had fallen off the boardwalk and into one of the hot pools. And this is not far, like I said, from an area where we've had a recent earthquake swarm. Let me pull it out right there. Maybe since this has happened, they put up warning signs, and maybe they're going out and testing some of these other pools along here. We got Rush Lake. What else? Places that have easy access. Here we got Hot Lake and Firehole Lake. Maybe they got warning signs now. They give people the brochures when they come into the park, but how many actually take the warnings that are posted in them serious? Here is an image of Maple Creek, and yeah, we got a lot of shaking going on. Look at that popping of the rock. I've talked about how the ground gets brittle like glass. And just the smallest earthquake, the smallest pressure, it's getting very, very brittle there. And we'll pull this across. You can see all these earthquakes. Oops. Granted, they're small, but it shows you that the pressure is building. This volcano is gearing up for another eruption. Who knows when? That one's marked in red. That one is a 1.95, probably a little bit larger. We got another one. Now, these are all today. At 4:58. They didn't report that one. A 1.60. No, that one. Let me make that bigger. 7:57. Not being reported. That's a 1.75. We got some other little things in here. Look at that. Try and make that one bigger. There you go. At 10:32, also not being reported. It's got a small P wave on it. That one's a 1.34. All right, Horse Butte. Now, this activity right here, I believe is from them letting out water because of the drought from Hedgen Lake. But there is some small quakes here. Let me look at these. One small one there. Another. I'm not going to even guess on that one or that one. But what's this one right here? That comes in as a magnitude 1.35. This monitor is Horse Butte. I might have said Hedgen Lake, but it's Horse Butte, which is up over here somewhere. I don't have it marked out. They do know that they need to monitor Yellowstone a lot more closely than what they're doing. And they need to have more redundancy of backup systems. They need to to have backup of backup systems. You just can't have one mechanism go down to affect all these different stations. You know, none of the boreholes working. None of the US stations working. Yeah, they need to have backups of backups. So this here is the monitor for Teton Pass, Montana. And this is the earthquake that came in from Japan, the 5.9. But I wanted to show you how the magma really got stirred up there. And I'm going to show you where that monitor's at, right there. And this is a system that is not using US. It's not using USGS. This is MB. Yeah, Network MB. It's actually named Teepee Creek, Montana. Yeah. So it's not Teton Pass, it's Teepee Creek, Montana. You know, geology is a real young science, I would have to say. They're about 50 years behind in research. There's not a lot of geologists that actually go out and do the research. Papers are copied and repeated what they say. USGS doesn't spend their money to even do that much research at Yellowstone. They depend on some student from some university working on, getting their degree to come to Yellowstone and do the research for them. So there's a lot about volcanoes they still do not know. And I share with you what I find out. And I don't know very much either. But here at this monitor, you can see how they have a lot of heated water. And we'll come up to different little areas. Let's look at that signature, what was going on there. You know, like La Palma. They were trying to find out just exactly where all that magma was coming from. And only recently, looking at the lava samples, they realized that it's coming up from the mantle of the earth, not a reserve pocket of magma that's been sitting underneath a volcano. No, it's coming up from the mantle of the earth. Yeah, these are volcanic tremors. You know, and they didn't even know about harmonic tremors that occur as a volcano is recharging prior to its eruption until 1981. They didn't even know that volcanoes make what's called a scream, a high-pitched scream, until the eruption of the Alaska volcano redoubt. That's where the magma comes in so fast and so loud that the equipment that they put out there can't pick it up. Yeah, that's all new research within the last 50 years. They used to say that volcanoes were extinct until Mount St. Helens erupted. And then they realized that, oh, they're not extinct. They're just sleeping. Mount St. Helens being one of those. So when Mount St. Helens blew, they went back and reviewed these different volcanoes, and at the same time, they decided to put extra monitors here at Yellowstone. They really weren't even monitoring it until after Mount St. Helens erupted. It was the University of Hawaii that was watching what was going on at Yellowstone prior to when Mount St. Helens went off. Well, it looks like Old Faithful's going off, and we got a little buffalo over here. You know, the United States Geological Society, USGS, was not formed to monitor volcanoes and earthquakes. It was formed to spend taxpayers' dollars to go out and do the research to find oil, gas, and other natural resources for these big companies. So what are your thoughts? Put your comments down below. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for your support. Please thumbs up my videos. Yeah, that's important for the YouTube algorithm. Please stay safe and I will talk to you later. God bless you. Bye.